But one organization based in Tampa, Florida, is not waiting to help get those Americans out who need to get out. The Gray Bull Rescue Foundation launched what it calls Operation Olive Shield. They are busing Americans out of Israel who apply for help through their website. The first two groups of evacuees have just made it out in the last few hours. The organization says it's received hundreds of requests for help. Gray Bull Rescue is comprised mainly of U.S. veterans. They've rescued 7,000 Americans over the years from places like Ukraine, Haiti, and Afghanistan. And joining us now from the Middle East is the founder of Gray Bull Rescue Foundation, Bryan Stern. Bryan's a multiple combat tour veteran in the U.S. Army and Navy. Bryan, thanks so much for staying up. I know you're exhausted. You've been up for days straight. You've gotten hundreds of requests from people who feel like they're stranded in the area. Give me an idea of who you're hearing from, what stories they're telling you.
Well, it's not hundreds; it's thousands.
Wow.
Israel has a lot of Americans, a lot of dual Israeli Americans that live there, that study there. It's also the tourism season; it's summer, so a lot of study abroad trips and mission trips and all kinds of folks are in the country. So we've got all shapes and sizes. Babies, old people. We got people, all kinds of people are in Israel right now.
So given the fact that the airspace is closed, you're bussing them out. How are you doing that?
Yeah, we don't like to talk too much about the specifics, but the bottom line is this: is that the airspace is closed. So there's only so many ways to deal with this. One way is the maritime option, is boats from Israel to another country. Usually it's Cyprus, maybe Turkey. Or you go by ground, and that's buses. That's buses to a plane. So it's you got to delicately navigate some pretty complicated countries and some diplomatic relations and some issues there for sure.
So we just talked about the fact in the intro to you that the airspace over other countries nearby, like Jordan, for example, have also been sporadically open and closed to civilian air traffic. Is that all because of what's going on between Israel and Iran? And how difficult is that making your job?
Absolutely. So the deal is this: is that between Israel and Iran are a bunch of other countries. So when Iran lobs missiles or cruise missiles or artillery or drones or what have you, it has to cruise through the airspace of other countries, therefore creating a flight hazard. So it's not a diplomatic thing or any kind of show of there's no geopolitical piece to it. It really is. It would be very terrible if an Iranian drone flew into a Boeing 777 and killed 300 people by accident over Jordanian airspace, let's say.
And
so they shut that.
And it's important to note the U.S. State Department just announced that they are closing the embassy. They are not calling for the evacuation, however, of Americans at this point.
Yeah, the embassy closing, I think, is a big clue of things to come. It is not both diplomatically and also just from a symbolism perspective, to close the United States embassy. There needs to be a very good reason why. There needs to be a very real threat, which that's what I think it is in this case. There needs to be it's no small feat to close an American embassy, especially in a country like Israel, which is such an ally.
Are you surprised that the embassy isn't making an effort, at least at this point? It just announced that the embassy is closing, that we're not hearing from the State Department any effort to get those Americans out?
I don't know if I'm surprised or not surprised. This is hard stuff. The situation is that there's no good answer. Going by water is treacherous. Going by ground is treacherous, and going by air is treacherous. This is a war zone. People are dying out here every day. This is not, this is serious stuff.
Yeah.
And so from the embassy perspective, they're very sensitive, as they should be, to putting Americans at risk. And I disagree with them.
And you've rescued Americans from Ukraine, Afghanistan, Haiti. How does this compare?
We've done 731 missions, all in my team and I, and Every one of them is different. Every one of them. There's no cookie cutter. It's not Warzone Uber where it's call a bus and figure it out. There's always bumps in the road.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.